Introducing HR Topics featuring Lori Kleiman.
Hi, it's Lori with more HR tips for you. Today, I want to share with you some common compliance issues that come up impacting businesses of all sizes that you may not be aware of. So I just picked 5 or 6 different things that seem to be bubbling up as I talk to clients and customers of small business. The first is the American with Disabilities Act. These days, it seems like almost everything is a covered disability. So you want to make sure that you are participating with your employees in an interactive process to really understand what their issue is and what they might need help with. It is your responsibility to make a reasonable accommodation to the extent possible when you're working with the employees. But it doesn't mean that you have to accommodate every single issue that they have. So do think about how you might be able to help an employee, but at the same time, what the real cost is to your organization. If you find that you aren't able to accommodate an employee's request, I do recommend that it might be time for you to call an attorney. So think about that. One of the policies I like to encourage everyone to start thinking about adding to their employee handbook is a bring your own device policy. That is a policy that would dictate how things are handled when employees are using their own personal device in your workplace. These days, it's typically relating to smartphones, but it might also be an iPad. It might be a laptop computer. And the 2 things you want to be careful of is, one, that you have the ability to look at that device if there's any question of how an employee behaved on your behalf. At the same time, you want to make sure that you are spelling out for non-exempt employees, those employees that are typically paid on an hourly basis, how they might be using their devices after working hours, because you could be liable to pay them their hourly rate just for responding to an email that you never asked them to respond to. The last thing we're talking a lot about these days is what's called ban-the-box laws. Those are the new laws in many states, about half the states have them now, that say that you are no longer able to ask candidates, on an application whether or not they've ever been convicted of a felony. You must be certain of whether or not you are in a ban-the-box state. So simply Google it, ban the box, and whatever your state is. If the law applies in your state, you must remove that question from your employment application. However, you can later in the process go ahead and see whether or not somebody has ever been convicted of a felony and check their background that way. It doesn't mean you can't do it. You just have to do it later in the interview process. So those are just a couple things that I thought I'd share with you about some laws that are often impacting business today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Do remember that I am not an attorney. So if you have specific legal questions, I encourage you to call your corporate counsel. Thanks a lot and have a great day.